I started running the wheel strategy just under 4 months ago, and in today's video, I'm going to share with you the results. Yo, what is going on, Premium Chasers? I hope you are having a God-blessed day today. Every single person that comments down below is going to get my special buying versus selling options ebook and guide. If you want that full guide, drop a comment down below on today's video. No strings attached whatsoever. And while you're down there, hit that like button and that subscribe button. Today, guys, we're going to go over the results. It's been just under 4 months since I started our $5,000 public portfolio here on the YouTube channel, where I show you every little nitty-gritty trade that I have been taking. And the inspiration came actually because last night I posted some of my results from running the wheel strategy in our free Facebook group. Link is in description if you want to join. And a bunch of people were commenting, engaging with it. And I was like, you know what? Absolutely need to shoot a YouTube video to discuss this because I've edited the trade log calculator. Look, one of you guys is in here. I love that I see when I come into my trade log, I see you guys randomly in here. But with that said, let's talk about it. We started at the end of June 25th, 26th is when we started. And today is the 21st. So we're still just under that 4-month mark. Let's talk about immediately. Let's just talk about the results, right? What happened with the results? Obviously, nothing is financial advice. Results vary. Do your own research. Everything I talk about here is risky, and you have to go speak to a financial advisor. But with that said, I started with $5,000. My total that I've netted so far with premium and selling my shares has been $631, right? That gives us about a 12.62% ROI on the 5,000. with an average trade return of about 3% ROI on collateral. Here are my outcomes, okay? This is important. This is very important. Now, obviously, I haven't traded that much. This is only, 15 trades? This is why I love it, baby. This is why I love selling options. I don't have to trade a lot. I don't want to trade a lot, okay? But with that said, let's take a look at what some of my outcomes have looked like from running the wheel strategy, right? So closing out early has obviously taken the massive lead. 54% of the time I close my position early. What does that mean? Nothing happened. I walk away with the juice, right? Like literally, that's the ideal situation most of the time is we close out our position early and we move on with our lives. Right? I had a really perfectly evenly spread amount of rolls called away and assignments, right? I had 15% of the time my shares ended up being called away, right? 15% of the time my I was actually assigned shares, right? And then 15% of the time, I rolled my position. Now, again, these numbers will start looking a lot better as we fill up our trade log here. But we can see our rolls really just happened at the start when we originally had our SoFi, 100 SoFi shares that we purchased with our account, right? And we purchased our 100 SoFi shares, and then we ended up rolling those positions a few times, and then eventually getting those shares sold away right here. And it's been fun. We've traded a vast majority, a lot of stocks actually, more than you would expect over just the course of a few months, right? We have done SoFi, we did the infamous Campbell's soup play, which I'm going to put a little asterisk on my results so far. It should be higher, and you know why it should be higher? Because this Campbell's play that I did on the 27th, where I locked up $3,000 for a month. I locked up $3,000 for an entire month, and I fortunately was able to close it out early, right, for $3. But I fat fingered it because I had just moved over to Fidelity. I did it on mobile, and I was just not looking what I was clicking, and I ended up taking a stupid trade, and it only was a 0.06% ROI on my collateral. So this totally screwed the first of month where I locked up $3,000 of my $5,000, right, and was basically unable to do anything for an entire month with that $3,000. So asterisk, this honestly, I do think this should be closer to $700 of premium collected. But hey, we all make mistakes. I'm a human being, and that's why I like that I'm sharing this with you guys, because guess what? I make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. And the best part is, even sometimes when we make mistakes with selling options, if we stick to good companies, we stick to good stocks that we believe in, it sometimes usually does work out anyway, right? So in this situation where I messed up with my Campbell soup, what was the worst thing that happened? Okay, I missed out some opportunity cost, but did I lose any money? No, I made $1.69 after I decided to just close this thing out early for $3. But I still stuck to Warren, Papa Warren's rule number one: don't lose money. Right? Ended up selling our SoFi shares. We then jumped into our American Airlines, and that's when Snapchat really started taking off. You'll see that since then, American Airlines and Snapchat have been big players for me in this portfolio. They're two fantastic companies that I'm very bullish on. Obviously, Snapchat's a little bit more high risk in my opinion, but American Airlines is my old reliable. I love selling options on American Airlines. It's cheap. It can move pretty aggressively, bouncing off the bottom and tops of its Bollinger Band, which is very, very nice for option sellers. American Airlines was one of the first stocks I ever started running the wheel strategy on about 7 years ago, and I continue to do so to this day. Snapchat, more of a newer addition for me, but has been, really good premiums. Obviously, a 2.31% premium return on that specific trade, and you could see most of the time I close out early. I close out that early. Snapchat here, I ended up being assigned, right? I ended up having to buy 100 shares of Snapchat for $7.50. Then we had 3 plays here with Fiverr, Snapchat, and Ford. Some more cash secured puts, right? Where all of them ended up being closed out early for some nice everything. I always try to at least get as close as I can to the 2% ROI on my collateral goal. Obviously, some are better than others, right? Like this Ford play, I only got 1.57, but it all equals out in the end with my average being around 3% ROI on my collateral, which is already very aggressive in my opinion. But with that said, Snapchat ended up getting some shares got called away from here. The ones I got for $7.50, I sold for $8 a share. Had a nice little juiced up 9% return on that trade, including my appreciation profit on that. Ended up getting assigned my Kraft Heinz shares for $27, which I'm still holding to this day with my covered calls for $27 on Kraft Heinz. Now, Kraft Heinz obviously not a crazy mover here by any means. We had just under a 2% ROI on collateral on both the cash secured put side as well as the covered call side, collecting around $50 in premiums on that. And then we close out two positions early here on Snapchat and American Airlines, and we have a few positions open right now. Okay, now 2 of the most recent ones are a little bit more aggressive than I normally like, right? We have Kenvue that we did a 1550 on. That unfortunately Kenvue did see a drop here, and if we just open up our Kenvue here, we could see Kenvue's trading at just above $15 right now. And then we have a 650 put on Snapchat. We're actually up on this put already, which is fantastic. We opened that last week, and Snapchat is trading at $7.73. Has been a really fun one, but plenty of time. 24 days till expiration, 24 days to expiration, both on the 14th. The Kraft Heinz, right? Kraft Heinz is kind of interesting right now. I'm gonna, I want to get out of this. I have 10 days till my expiration here. What I'm most likely going to do is let this go to my expiration date, but I don't mind that we're trading in this 25, 50-ish range, gets up to that 26. That at least gives me a confidence that there's some support that we're at here. So I'm at the very least, if I'm not able to get out of my shares on Kraft Heinz, I'm confident I will at least be able to keep doing covered calls. Listen, we've all been in situations like this when we get assigned shares, and especially on a boring kind of stock like Kraft Heinz, and let's say it's trading at 24, we're assigned at 27, and then we're not even able to do cover calls on it. That really sucks. Now, what I may have to end up doing is keep pushing out my expiration date. So you could see on this one, I had this on the 26th, and this was on the 31st, right? My Kraft Heinz here, I had to go out over 30 days. I may have to do that with Kraft Heinz again and keep pushing out that expiration date as long as I can at the very least, get my 27s that I was assigned at. Now, I know some of you would be thinking, well, Pete, you collected about a little over $100 of premium on Kraft Heinz. Don't you factor that into your cost basis? Well, yes, I could. So essentially, I could go out there and do $26 calls on it. Now, that may be something I do end up doing because I do want to get out of Kraft Heinz with the news that they're splitting off, right? I don't necessarily want to be holding those shares, but at the end of the day, I really don't want to sell my shares for 26. I really want to sell my shares at the $27 level because again, that $100, especially when I don't want to interrupt compounding, and this is the reason that I believe this strategy works incredibly well for busy people that don't want to trade full time, people that have hobbies outside of just staring at charts all day, is because I right, want to not interrupt the compounding process, right? I'm collecting premiums, I'm collecting interest, I'm collecting appreciation sales, right? I'm funneling all of that money to continue to work, and really creates this snowball effect. And that's why I believe I've been able to get the results that I've wanted. Now, I'm sure you see other people on YouTube, they're doing much more higher risk leverage ETF stuff, and they're getting you 12, 13%, in a single month or in a single trade. I do suggest you do your research on that, and be very careful, right? One thing that I want to really hone in on this channel is, let's try to mitigate our risk as much as we can with this strategy. We're already setting ourselves up in a winning position as option sellers. That's what I believe. And when we start getting into these degenerate things, we start doing leveraged ETFs, we start going into companies that we don't believe in long term, that's where you're going to get bit. That one time you get bit, you get assigned 100 shares, you're not able to do cover calls, company goes bankrupt, could eliminate basically years worth of your premiums collected. That's why you're not going to see me doing those kind of things on this channel. The results I've gotten so far on this challenge, I absolutely love. And you actually see the broker statements for this at onlypeterpru.com, as well as optionsellerschool.com. Now, if you want this full trade log, plus all of my cash secured put calculators and my covered call calculators, and you want to learn more about the Ark Options Strategy, which takes the wheel strategy to the next level, click the second link in the description of today's video. You're going to learn about the Ark Options Strategy there. Plus, I'll give you the calculators for free. And if you're also interested in learning about being part of our Mastermind and Mentorship program, which is filled with incredible people sharing their trade insights, the day-to-day, we literally talk all day in our live chat. Picture a group chat in your phone and just constantly, literally, I have a bunch of messages right here on my phone from it. So if you're interested in that, you'll see that link down below in the description of today's video. You can book a call with us. We only want to speak with people that are non-toxic, are financially stable, can actually deploy capital to do a strategy like this. So you'll find all of those links down below in the description of today's video. And guys, remember, sell options, collect premiums, repeat. I'll see y'all tomorrow.